these hyped men's fragrances are not safe blind buys, and here's why. So, some fragrances are very safe to just buy without ever smelling them, and some are not. And I'm going to start with one that's, a pretty prominent option, and also very well known, which is Leighton by Parfum de Mali. So this is, again, very popular, very prominent, and also very expensive. So I personally quite like this one, Leighton, and the thing is, some people absolutely hate it. And I don't think this is a very safe blind buy, mainly because it's super expensive. Anything by Parfum de Mali is pretty much automatically going to be expensive. This is no different. Now, the thing that kind of sets some people off is the fact that this is a kind of unusually sweet men's fragrance. If you're not used to sweet fragrances or you don't like them, then you probably will not like Leighton. It's a spicy sweet type of fragrance. It has some cardamom in it, that sort of thing. Again, I think it's very nice. I think it's especially good for winter, cold weather, or evening wear. But I could definitely see how some people might not like it just because it has a very prominent sweetness to it. And again, if you're not into that sort of thing, you're probably not going to like this, and you would have wasted quite a lot of money on this because it's several $100s. Now, on the bright side, it does have really good longevity, really good projection, has a very luxurious smell to it. But again, that sweetness, you just have to watch out for that. So definitely I would not blind buy this. I would start with a sample, or if you don't like sweetness at all, just stay clear of Leighton, because again, that sweet, you can't really dodge that sweetness. But if you do like kind of sweet men's clones, then this is a good choice, because again, I don't think it's super sweet. Like when I think of a very, very sweet men's clone, I think of 1 Million from Paco Rabanne. And I think most people can collectively agree that that's too sweet for men, just in general. This is nowhere near that level of sweetness, but again, just kind of skirt around this if you're not big on sweetness. Now, going on to one that I also quite like, but maybe not great for blind buy. This is Creed Green Irish Tweed here, which is a very, very classic, very sophisticated men's fragrance. However, I mean, you could see this as a sample here. The full bottle is like $400, so I would not recommend that as a blind buy. I mean, even on the cheaper side, $300, Now, I do like this because it has some very nice mild notes. It has some lemon verbena, violet, ambergris. I think there's some wood notes in there as well. Very nice, classic, sophisticated sort of fragrance. Definitely for a more formal outing, you would wear this. Now, I say this is not a good blind buy because it's very expensive for the full bottle again. And also, it is a pretty mild scent. It's more subtle. It's meant to be more subtle. Longevity is not huge. It's more around like 5-ish hours, maybe 6. So if you're thinking, I'm going to spend $400 and get this, beast mode, super long-lasting fragrance, super strong, that's not what you're going to get. You're going to get something, again, more subtle, more delicate, more on the elegant side of things, more formal. So I would definitely say get a sample, something like this, to not spend $400 right away. And of course, if you like it, then you can get the full bottle if you want. But yeah, definitely don't go for the full bottle right away because you don't want to be disappointed if you just, get something that you're not expecting. But overall, Creed Green Irish Tweed is a very, very good, solid choice for its type. If you're looking for that type of subtle, more sophisticated, classic type of smell. But if you're expecting something more like, a big, flashy fragrance or something, again, beast mode style, that's not what you're going to get here. Now, the next option, I actually quite like most of these, but they're just not great blind buys because they're kind of, a bit controversial. Now, this one is Your Original. I love this one. Kind of hard to find these days. So the thing about this, I think in general, a lot of people like it, a lot of people like to wear it, but some people are kind of hung up on the iris note that it has. The iris note, a lot of people feel, is pretty feminine, and I mean, you can see it does have a little hint of femininity there, I would not say it goes full on, floral feminine. It's just that singular iris note adds a little bit of sweetness to overall a pretty fresh and clean scent. I think it's very, very nice. Again, very good longevity, kind of more of a clean formal type of scent or a clean daytime scent. It's just, again, that kind of iris note that people get hung up on, kind of debating whether it's too feminine for men or not. So if you're kind of concerned about that, maybe, that floral note going a bit too sweet, I would definitely get a sample first and, determine for yourself if you feel that it's too feminine or not. I think it's more of really a unisex type of smell overall, but again, it is a very nice fragrance. You just have to watch out for that iris note and figure out, does it work for you or not. So definitely I would say get a sample first, but overall it is a nice fragrance, good longevity, good smell just in general. Now, going on to probably one of my favorites, like top 3 here. This is Dior Tobacco. Now, this is one of Dior's more expensive fragrance options. And it's also, you could guess from the name, a tobacco fragrance, and a pretty strong tobacco fragrance. Now, I would not say this is a safe blind buy, even though it is a very nice fragrance, because tobacco notes can be kind of a hit or miss for some people, or for a lot of people actually. So if you're just not a huge fan of tobacco, or maybe you kind of like it in certain circumstances, be wary of this one because it is an intense tobacco note, although I think it's smoothed out and balanced quite nicely. But again, if you're not into those really heavy, smoky smells, you probably won't enjoy this. And again, it's a pretty expensive fragrance, so you don't want to spend, several $100s on a fragrance that you're not really crazy about. I love this one. I think it's really nice and mysterious smelling, kind of heavy and smoky like that. But again, if you're more into, not that heaviness, maybe you prefer fresher, brighter fragrances, get a sample, try this out, but don't get the full bottle right away. Then the last one here, the ever famous Baccarat Rouge 540 for men. So this, first of all, it's very, very oversaturated right now. But if that doesn't bother you, then you also have to consider that it's also very expensive, and also it's pretty sweet. So again, the whole kind of, is this too sweet for men to wear sort of question. If you're open to sweet fragrances, because this is kind of a sweet, spicy type of fragrance, a little bit similar to Leighton, you have to consider how sweet do I want to go. Because again, this is definitely more on the sweeter side. I would argue even sweeter than Leighton, just by a little bit. So you definitely have to consider, is this a good fit? Do I want to spend all this money on a very, very sweet type of fragrance like this, especially one that is so oversaturated? Now, this is not to say that Baccarat Rouge is a bad fragrance, because it's not. Obviously, a lot of people love this fragrance, but you do have to be kind of careful with it. It doesn't fit everyone. It's kind of one of those fragrances that it kind of chooses you. You don't really choose it. But definitely, again, here's another sample card. Get a sample first, kind of wear it for yourself, determine how you like it. Maybe other people will tell you, how it smells on you. But definitely get a sample first, and if it turns out well, then of course you can move on to the full bottle. But that is pretty much my list of fragrances that they're good fragrances, I just don't think they're good blind buys. Definitely get a sample first before you jump in full force, because again, you don't want to waste a bunch of money on these really, high-class luxury fragrances and find out you don't really like them. But that is pretty much my video. If you found it helpful, of course, you could leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.